All right, we are live.
Okay, everybody set your timers.
All right.
Timer set.
Google for 60 minutes.
Short, 1 hour. And we're starting now.
Okay, everybody have their timers?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. The last time we left off, the puppets had made it into Candy Cave. Just barely. It's dark. The eyes don't adjust super fast. It's a very low glow of purple hue. Every puppet stands together at the entrance of Candy Cave. For some reason or another, the Nutcrackers has either pulled back or they don't know where you are. You don't know which. What will the puppets do?
Well, we've gotten to our destination. Yes, I believe we should take a look inside, as I believe that's what we were supposed to do.
I'm getting sick of playing you, I say, with a little chuckle.
We went through so much to get here. I think it is only the best decision to continue moving forward.
Well, we can't move back. So forward would make the most sense.
So
So-
I will move forward into the caves as I feel that is the best move with all the danger behind us and how much it took to get us here.
I
Okay.
shall follow.
I'll give my friend my sleeve as I lead her in.
As all of the puppets slowly proceed forward, all of them realize that it's going to require more sound and listening than that of sight. As each puppet slowly proceeds forward, hearing their feet pattering across the ground, you hear one of the puppets, Billy Blue Buttons. He goes, "Pups." What does all of the puppets do?
He goes, "What? I'm sorry. It
You-
cut you out."
Yeah.
He, Billy Blue Button says, "Shh. Listen close."
I shall listen closely.
I'll listen closely.
I shall also listen close.
I believe
I
there's
will allow for my friends to listen closely, but I want to take a moment just to look at Billy Blue Buttons and just give him a nod to acknowledge that I'm glad he is safe.
And when you give him that, he kind of whispers, "Thank you. It's all because of you that I made it." There's one puppet among the group that has the ability to listen far better than anyone else. Only that puppet hears what sounds like something scraping along the wall. But not like something sharp or something solid. Something soft. Maybe even a little squishy. What do the puppets do?
I shall inform my companions that we are most definitely not alone in these caves.
Do you know which direction it is coming from?
I will try to listen more clearly to try and tell.
Sounds like it's up ahead and maybe to your left.
Up ahead and to the left, can we see if there's diverging tunnels? I can't see with my lack of eyes, but if you can, companions.
I look
I
at her and
I
see
shall take it
if I,
as well.
Cleaver is going to look ahead.
The purple glow is very faint, and it gives off barely any radiance. Definitely not enough to be able to make out any kind of detail or features. But when you do stare into the purple glow, it's beautiful and it's very mesmerizing. And just staring into it makes you feel full, almost as if you had eaten a hearty meal. And Billy Blue Buttons, he speaks. I've only heard stories about the Candy Cave. Look how beautiful it is. And you notice his eyes widen as he continues to stare at the purple glow, almost as if he can't really take his eyes off of it.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. We sure it is safe to go ahead, though.
I'm
What?
going to look over at Billy Blue Buttons, and as he seems almost infatuated with this purple glow, I'm going to whisper to him, "Do you know what that is? What are we looking at?"
His eyes remain focused on the purple glow, but he hears you and he replies, "It's candy. This whole cave, it's made of food." And he reaches out a small puppet hand, actually two, and he places them on each, a circular growth into the wall. And you can see his little puppet hand glow purple, but only as long as he touches it. He says, this is where Puppet Town mines for the candy, the food, our sustenance. It's through here where once here we're officially Puppet Town, so to speak, and we can make our way to, well, the world. The world is our oyster. We really need to find the lake of milkies. For that, Judy's supposed to be there. I feel Judy can help us take down Punch. And Billy stops, but he continues to stare. What do the rest of the puppets do?
Well, if that is our best chance, then we should surely make our way through. Yes? If she is a friend that can help us, then we must make haste.
I agree.
Billy nods. I agree. But he still can't take his eyes off the purple glow.
Say, good friend, I ask, is there any dangers we should be aware of here in this cave?
About that time, Billy says nothing else. It's almost as if this purple glow has maybe started to take over him. Maybe some kind of obsession.
Are you okay, Billy? I asked.
Again, no response from Billy.
Could we try covering his eyes?
Of course, any puppet with hands could attempt to cover his eyes.
I'm going to try to attempt to do that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, young puppet, but you chose to only have one arm.
One hand not cover both eyes?
Good. Is that what you would like to do?
Yes, please.
As the puppet wraps the arm around the upper head region of Billy, manages to cover his eyes. He snaps out of whatever trance he was in. He removes his hands from the purple glow. His hands no longer purple. And he goes, I can't see. What happened? What's going on?
You seemed to be in a trance, my friend, and it seemed to be mainly caused by sight. Take the sense away, and you seem to return to normal.
Thank you. I don't know what came over me.
I
Well,
will
then,
look over.
my friend, then I shall ask again, since your wits are about you once more, is there any dangers we should be worried about in this cave?
I don't know much about the cave other than it's where we get our food, but back when the maker was alive, I would have said no. Not at all. But I'll be honest with you. Now that Punch is in control, I don't know. And the look on Billy's face seems very disheartened, very downtrodden when he says that.
There, friend. We will make it to Judy. All together, all in one piece. She is a friend that can help us, yes? We shall make it.
She can help us. I believe she can. And Billy looks incredibly certain that Judy is the way.
I will look over to Billy, as we have seemed to have built somewhat of a relationship after everything that transpired earlier. And I will say to him, my friend, we are with you, and we believe in your strength to carry through as well. But we must need you to keep your eyes down to keep you away from the danger. Can you do that for me?
Billy nods his head. Yes, I can. I do apologize. I don't know what came over me. It was... And he kind of side eyes the purple glow, but he doesn't stare into it again. It's as if something had come over me and began to take hold.
Perhaps that is something that evil Punch might be after. Perhaps that is why there are those nasty, dastardly nutcrackers all around. We must find Judy. We must put an end to this.
But if you notice, the nutcrackers didn't follow us in here. What if it's something even they're afraid of?
That could very well be true, my friend. It is Perhaps this cave contains dangers that not even the residents.
That's quite possible. I suggest we get a move on.
If what I heard
Of course.
was against the left wall, my main suggestion would be that we follow the right. As long as we're touching the right wall, hopefully, if the cavern is large enough, we shouldn't touch what is touching the left wall.
I mean, that's certainly something we can try. We should make haste, though. We have to reach her as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
I hope you're right, my blind friend.
I can
Well-
only make an educated guess.
I think we're in a position right now where we don't really have many choices. And so, with each puppet seemingly on board, on the same page, is that what all the puppets decide to do? To follow the path to the right?
Yes.
Yes.
Cleaver is going to just start walking down the path to the right.
And I too shall follow with the group.
Oh,
I follow leading our blind friend alone.
Okay. As each puppet forms like a singular line, and they all begin to move along the right. Only those puppets who can hear with exceptional hearing can hear what sounds like a whisper in the night. And they can hear that's all they hear. What will the puppets do?
I shall look very carefully at our surroundings as we continue down the path.
There's only one puppet who heard that, for they have the ability to hear far more than any other puppet in here.
I will look vaguely in the direction of my companions and whisper most quietly, "We are most definitely not alone," and they are whispering.
Can you make out what they're saying?
Not yet, it would seem.
Oh, but you did. The puppet whispered, "I see you."
Oh no. Apparently, they have better vision than me. They can see us in the dark, or in this very rudimentary light, as you have described it.
Very free indeed.
One can only hope they're friendly.
I don't think they're friendly.
I mean, if they can already see us, we could call out and ask.
Well, that may
Splendid
not
idea.
be the.
Splendid, yes.
I will be overly cautious with this, dear Marty. However, Sir Cleaver, you appear to be you are the warrior amongst us. Perhaps we may ask you to lead the way with your shiny, most wonderful nutcracker annihilating weapon.
Cleaver pauses and he turns to the hero and he nods his head slowly before turning and starting to walk off again.
But wait, do we want to make an enemy if they aren't? We do not truly know their intentions.
Perhaps all they need is a friend. Surely they get lonely here.
Better safe than sorry.
And that
But
is
do we want to
exactly
make an
why.
enemy of something that even the nutcrackers are scared of?
To
If
be
we
fair,
could get
nutcrackers are
them-
not very friendly.
And also, to be fair, dear Carlo, I didn't ask Cleaver to necessarily go attack, but to be the head in case of an attack. I'd much rather we play it safe and have our defenses ready. Because while I might be able to fight, I cannot fight head on as good as Cleaver can. We have seen much on our path here.
And so, what decision has the puppets come to?
I
I
look
do
at my
think
friends. I do feel we should try to speak. Perhaps they are friendly, but let us remain cautious. We do not know what lies ahead.
sure. Like I
Perhaps
said, being here in this cave, perhaps all they need is a friend. It could get quite lonely in here.
perhaps let me go forward with my calm demeanor, and then I have the best vantage point to hear, and Cleaver could go second to protect all the rest.
But
I
don't you
say
need
it's
an
worth a
aid?
shot.
We're in a very dark cave at this point. As long as I hold on to the wall, I should be fine.
Alright, be careful, my dear friend.
I will try my best.
So then, as Marty is quite friendly, I shall make an overture towards the entity in the cave and be like, "Hello, friend. We mean no harm. Who are you?"
Whisper can be heard again, this time loud enough for everyone to hear. And all everyone hears is, that's it.
Wait, say that again? It cut you out for some reason.
I think you're whispering it so quietly it didn't pick it up.
Yeah.
All everyone can hear is,
He's doing it again, brother. I think you gotta say it in your normal voice and just say that you're whispering. And I'm only speaking just so it'll pick up on the recording.
okay, this is going to sound really stupid. All everyone hears is,
Ah, I get why, yeah.
that's SHHHHH. That's what you guys hear. SHHH.
Oh.
Sorry to all you listeners.
Oh, so then I shall whisper, "Oh, I am quite sorry, friend. I shall keep the noise down then."
Nothing is said.
Maybe as long as we move quietly and don't talk much, the entity will leave us alone.
They have advised us to be more quiet. Perhaps there is danger afoot and we're being warned. Which means perhaps they too might be in danger. Shall we help?
There you go, want to play hero again, I say.
I think if the entity was in danger, it would not live in the cave as it seems to do so. But it seems to be more warning us of the possible danger to us.
Then let us proceed quietly and see what we make of the situation.
Agreed, friend.
Agreed.
And move quietly, I believe we shall.
As all of the puppets move quietly, their little hands feeling along the walls to make sure that they don't lose their way, so to speak. They come to a crossroad of sorts. Their eyes can see just enough to see that the direction goes to the left and the direction goes to the right. Which direction will the puppets go?
Can I hear anything in either direction?
It is absolute silence.
I wanted to look over towards Cleaver, as he seemed to have known the way to these candy caves from the beginning, and perhaps with the shiny glint from his wonderful weapon, he may know the way further. Cleaver, do you know the way?
Cleaver is going to stop, and he's going to look about, and then he raises his axe and points it towards the left.
Well, our friend has been right so far, so I believe we should go left.
Agreed.
Let's go left.
Okay. As each puppet veers from the right wall up into the left. You guys still sticking to the right wall? I mean, you're going to go left, but are you still sticking to the right wall or the left wall?
I personally will be.
You'll be sticking to the right wall?
Yeah,
So
right.
before we-
All right.
Before
So
we
I-
move forward, I want to see if there is any more of that dastardly purple glow that we need to be aware of. And so I questioned out loud.
The purple glow is mixed when you get further down. So there's a purple glow, and there's a blue glow, and there's a green glow, and there's a yellow glow. But it's very faint. It's not enough to give off a significant light source to really be able to see much, but you can just see it barely, almost like pulsating inside each circular spherical core.
Everyone, be aware. Look down, just look down a little further. See that there's a glimmer. It could be more of the purple. It's more danger like the purple. For those of us that can see, someone should most certainly help guide Carlo. Perhaps we form a train as we get closer to there, because we can see the glow. And I do not want to take any attempt to cause harm if it can be avoided.
Caution seems to be the best course of action here, so I am okay with that.
So are all the puppets proceeding forward?
Yes.
I am.
Yes, I believe we are proceeding forward, sticking to a wall until we get closer to the glow.
As the puppets stick to the wall and they move slowly. Doesn't take super long, and you come to an area that veers right. And the glow is a little brighter than before. Almost as if you're in the heart of the candy cave, or maybe getting close to the heart. Billy Blue Buttons, he sees each specific glow of all different colors. And he says, "It's so magnificent. I have never seen anything like this before." Will our
I immediately have concern for Billy just for what happened moments ago with the purple. And I immediately just I want to reach out to just gently grab the back of his head and tilt it forward to avert his gaze.
Weaver, could you help me cut this loose, empty sleeve from my my jacket, please? I feel like we should maybe make some kind of blindfold for our dear little friend.
Cleaver says sure. Or he would if he could speak, but this is April 1st, so April Fools, Cleaver cannot speak. Cleaver walks over and seems to study the thread, and he looks like he's watching it sway, and he seems to monitor the shadow, and his free hand seems to make a motion, but she can't see that, so he continues to make the motion like he wants her to hold in place so that he could cleave the shadow of the thread to try to actually cut the thread. So a mute puppet is trying to get a blind puppet to stop and get into a certain position.
It sounds like both puppets are going to have to be a lot more elaborate than that. For one is mute and one is blind, there is really no communication.
And that is correct.
So how will Cleaver convey this in a way to where a blind puppet could understand, or any of the other puppets for that matter?
Cleaver is going to turn to the others to see how they have reacted to what has happened. Perhaps he is trying to motion for them to step in.
Do you need help? I asked.
Cleaver nods his head.
What do you need us to do or to say? Can you maybe signal?
Cleaver signals towards where the thread is, if it is dangling from her hand or her arm.
I would say it would be dangling.
So you want the thread?
Can you say that again?
So you want the thread? I
Cleaver
shall point.
nods his head, and then he points with his free hand towards the shadow of the thread.
You wish to sever the thread, like you did the Nutcracker. Yes.
Cleaver nods his head repeatedly.
Would that
But
not hurt? Would that not hurt our friend though?
yes,
Well,
that's
it's
my
an empty
question.
sleeve. There's no arm. I only have one arm.
Indeed.
So, as long as someone would, I assume, hold it out straight, the empty sleeve, it should be clear to cleave.
Oh, only if you're sure. Then yes. I suppose one of us can hold it out for our dear friend here. As a matter of fact, I shall do so, or I shall try to do so. Actually, our jokey friend, perhaps he would be better to do this, for as I am a shadow, I might accidentally get caught in the cleaving.
Okay. I said as I walk towards our blind friend in Cleaver, I hold out her the the sleeve out the arm for him to cleave.
I'm going to nod my head in approval, is what Cleaver does. He nods his head in approval. and he raises the axe like he is going to sever the sleeve, but he pauses and seems to study the shadow of the sleeve. Perhaps he's trying to make sure that it is going to be all right.
The shadows seem to line up, but the problem is it's very dark, so it's quite hard to tell if it'll be super accurate or not. There are a lot of shadows here in Candy Cave.
Take your time and be careful, Cleaver, I say.
Cleaver is going to attempt to do just that. Take his time. Be careful.
And so as Cleaver takes his time and is very careful, Cleaver manages to take a slow swipe, and the thread cuts cleanly with no harm or damage done to his puppet friend.
Good job.
Well. Quite well done, I must say.
Brilliant work.
Cleaver nods his head a few paces, or a few beats, and then he takes a few paces forward.
And what will Cleaver do once he takes a few beats forward? 2 steps.
He is going to pause, and he takes a look at his surroundings once more.
There are many lights, again, pulsating from the cores of what you know are now candy. Same colors before. And it just goes straight. The pathway goes completely straight for as far as you can see. Where it goes beyond that, Cleaver does not know.
I look at the group and I acknowledge that now that Cleaver has removed the thread, let's make sure, I say to the group, let's get Billy's eyes covered. And everyone should keep their heads down, their eyes down. We are no different than Billy, and perhaps we could fall victim to whatever is in here as well.
Of course, sounds like a good idea. We must be careful, but we also must hurry.
Agreed.
I shall pass the sleeve to my jokester friend so that he can tie it around Billy's eyes.
I grabbed this thread and I tied it around Billy's eyes.
And Billy can no longer see. Billy panics a little bit. I cannot see. Please, someone take my hand. Please don't leave me.
I will grab Billy's hand. I've essentially been his guardian angel thus far, if you will, and I will. And my goal from the beginning was never to let harm fall to him again, so I will help continue to guide him.
And as the puppet takes Billy's small hand, do all of the puppets, do they proceed forward?
Yes, I shall.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I'll pull my hood down to help shade the light from my eyes and proceed forward.
As all of the puppets proceed forward, they come to another area. that veers off to the left and off to the right. Seems that Candy Cave is not just a cave, but also quite possibly a maze. What will the puppets do?
Not a maze.
Cleaver, my dear friend. Just to ensure we do not run around in circles, perhaps you should mark a notch on the wall when we come to forks such as these, so we know if we've been here before or not.
For some reason, to your question, Cleaver shakes his head slowly. And he looks a little saddened.
Dear friend, what's wrong?
He points to the wall. And then he shakes his head slowly.
I shall look at the wall.
It seems that Cleaver, maybe, unless it's a shadow, maybe he can't leave any kind of mark or hurt any kind of physical object unless he cuts through shadow first.
Huh.
Isn't the
see.
way to solve a maze by following the same wall? It's not the quickest way, but it is the safest way.
Only up to what every puppet should do as a team.
Well, first, before I agree or disagree with that, I shall ask Cleaver, do you know the way?
Cleaver shakes his head and looks sad.
Dear friend does not know the way. Then I suppose the wall may be our next best option then. For I am but a shadow, I cannot really feasibly do that, as I cannot kick, throw, or grab things that weigh more than a piece of paper, and surely these caves are much heavier than a piece of paper.
That is quite true.
I intriguingly take a gander at the walls and have been looking at them as we walked through, and I'm trying to see if perhaps there have been any loose pieces, as it is a cave after all. Perhaps anything big enough that, though Cleaver cannot leave a notch, perhaps we can leave a stone to say we've crossed that path.
There are a lot of various colors of candy, like debris from being mined. None of them glow, not the pieces that have been removed. They don't glow, but they're like pebbles.
My friends, I guess as I look around at them, time is yet again becoming of the essence, and we need to make a decision. I feel that there is, as there's plenty of there's candy on the ground. Perhaps I can make a quick line after we cross somewhere to as our indication. But is there any one of you who has more experience with mazes and puzzles?
Sadly, I do not, but the trail, quite a good idea, I have to say.
I do not, but I think the line thing is a good idea.
I'm still pretty sure that the way to solve a maze or any kind of labyrinth is to follow the same wall.
We could do both things at once.
Absolutely.
Well, that sounds to me like the best plan we've got, and we have a short time to do it. So I will travel behind, and I will grab what I can along the way, and I will try to etch off some degree of a path to just some kind of marking, perhaps an X, with a handful of these pebbles, just to say we have been here. It's the best thing we have, but I think that we should indeed move forward. How do you feel?
Agreed.
Would you like me to grab Billy Blue Button's hand so that you can use both of yours?
Yes, I think that helping form some degree of a train, if you will, might be wise here, because anything can happen. We don't know these. There could be traps, there could be anything in our wake. And maintaining contact with at least a hand, I feel, would be the best for us in this situation.
That is not a bad idea. I believe we should do it.
Absolutely.
Cleaver
Peter.
looks at the walls and he looks to see if it's. Well, he reaches a hand out like he wants to grab at a piece of the wall, but he cannot.
It would seem.
Cleaver, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it would seem Cleaver cannot seem to really interact that well with it.
However, he is going to hold his hand as if he broke off a piece of the wall, walk forward and throw his hand down and open it up as he continues walking. And then he pauses and looks towards the others.
So, you think we should break off that piece and throw it forward? I asked.
Nods. He nods, then he goes towards the wall and he makes the same motion again, like he is grabbing a piece and then walking forward once more, taking his hand down, throwing it down, and opening his hand. Then he takes another step forward and does it one more time. Takes his hand, walks forward again, throws his hand down, and keeps going forward.
Can one stronger manage to do this?
I would say one that is stronger with some kind of tool could probably break off pieces of the wall. Yes.
Cleaver friend, what if one of our stronger friends borrowed your tool for a moment to try and break off these pieces? Would that work?
Cleaver shakes his head no and looks saddened. Cleaver raises both of his arms, one that is free and one that is holding the axe. He opens his free hand, but the other hand still remains clenched around the axe.
May not be capable of letting it go.
Cleaver nods his head.
Well, that is a good reason why that plan would not work then. Would someone stronger be able to knock the piece out from the cave wall?
Maybe with several hard strikes, but the wall is pretty solid.
Unfortunately, I don't think we have time for this, fellows.
I concur. we're gonna have to make do with what we have. Be it pebbles, then pebbles it is. I'll form an X. I'll form some unique line as we go, but feels like time is ticking down, and we have to hurry.
We must make haste.
Let's get on it then.
So is everybody going to proceed forward
Yes.
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 along
Yes.
the same wall?
Yes.
Yes.
Cleaver
Okay.
walks forward.
And I am trailing behind the group, grabbing the pebbles and the rock and the pieces of candy that I can along the way, to continue to just drop them like in a form of like a diagonal line or a pattern that I would recognize.
Okay. You're trailing a little bit behind because of that. They're walking.
Hmm.
Only you hear a voice speak very lowly, but you see nothing. I can lead you. I can show you the way.
I hear the voice, but I have my suspicion. And I feel that it may perhaps be similar to the voices in which we heard before that I was uneasy about.
The voice
And
does sound the same. Okay, so all of you forward, except for the one in the final rear, who is proceeding forward but slower because of the leaving the little pebbles of candy behind. You come to an area that goes straight and veers off to the left. What will the puppets do?
I believe we should try going straight.
and I want to let them know, my friends, that something back there called out to me. Something is wicked in here. I do not trust it. It was saying it could show me the way. We must stick together. Anything you might hear, I do not trust it. We must hurry.
Are we sure we cannot trust it? I do believe we must hurry, but what if it just genuinely wishes to help?
If it wishes to help, I believe it would have echoed its voice to us as a whole, as a collective, not just me.
Did it sound evil?
It, I had to think about that for a moment as I pondered, did it sound evil?
Sounded like a low, whispering voice. Hard to tell if it's evil or not.
I cannot tell you for certain if it was bad, but nothing good would try to isolate us and tear us
Do we,
apart from one another.
do we know if it was trying to isolate us?
I mean, it came to me and only me while you guys
Perhaps,
were ahead.
perhaps it was because you was just the closest.
I do not trust it.
Well, I think we should continue going forward for the moment. Perhaps more of us will hear him, or perhaps we will not. Either way, we must get going.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so, what decision do all of the puppets make to continue straight or to go left?
I think we should go straight. What about everybody else?
I
I
think we
agree.
should go straight.
Cleaver immediately starts going straight once the other shadow puppet says that.
Yep, I am sticking with the plan, and I'm marking the ground with more candy to almost as if like an X in the left wing, so to tell us to not go that way if we come back.
Okay. You guys go straight for a while, and the multicolors that were seen before, you see that there's an area that veers off to the right. And the colors go from multicolors to just a singular purple glow again. And you hear the voice again as you're making a line. I can show you the way.
The voice, it sends essential shivers down my would-be spine, and I call out to the others. I hear the voice again. It is saying once again it can show us the way. Our time is running out.
We should give it a
Shall we
chance.
go?
We should give it a chance. Perhaps, as I said, all they need is a friend. It could be quite lonely in here.
Cleaver nods his head in agreement.
So, what will the puppets do?
I believe we should take a chance.
I will be weary, but I will follow their lead with giving it a chance.
I say we give it a chance.
I agree.
As all of the puppets agree to give it a chance, shadow shows itself along the wall. It seems that this puppet does not walk and has almost as if a long jacket that trails behind them, almost as if they float. And the puppet, it seems to show you to turn around, as if maybe you were going back the way you came.
Alright, then I shall turn around.
Do all the other puppets turn around?
Cleaver turns around.
So
Yes.
I'm going to turn around too, and I'm going to say to them, I will pick up Billy. One of you should pick up Carlo. We must run. Something feels like our time is ticking.
I pick up Carlos.
And as it's run, the shadow stays ahead very quick. And
I just hop very quickly.
I'll run to keep pace.
the puppet veers to the right, which would have been the left, the way you chose not to go. And it goes on for a bit. And there's another area to the left and to the right. And the shadow once again veers to the left. And you take off running to the left. Suddenly, the shadow is gone. And the sound of something heavy and moist can be heard hitting the ground. Like something splattering. But it's far up ahead, and you cannot see exactly what it is, unless you proceed forward, of course.
As getting wet would be bad for me, I shall take the shape of a raven, and I shall sit on our joking puppet friend's shoulder to avoid getting wet, as I can take the shape of animals.
That'd be correct. As you proceed forward, it seems. Stop. As you proceed forward, every puppet falls asleep before you can find out what it was. That concludes this session. If you'd stop recording, Jack.